What's good, YouTube? So recently I saw a top 10, list of decks that I heavily disagreed with for the August format upcoming. So I decided I'd make my own list and see what you guys think of my opinion. So coming in at number 10 is Chicken Game. And so this card is the most dreaded thing I think since Shadows hit the TCG when Duelist Alliance came out. Everybody believed Shadows would be so, dominant, would be so overpowering, and Chicken Game is the card that everybody dreads coming over, more for its degeneracy than anything. But, it is what it is. So, coming in at number 10, we'll see how it fares and what it does to impact the meta and counter it. But we'll see what Chicken Game does. And I love the tank being in this card. It kind of adds back. They came out, I believe, in PSV, and that's pretty cool. Number 9, we have Heroes. I agree that Heroes are a top 10 deck over Yang Zings, because Heroes just have this, ability to control, ability to create blowouts, abilities to make power plays. So when you have a deck that can, attack, mass change, attack, or bring out two of what's his name? Two like a Darklaw and a Shadow Mist, turn 1 and crush card you. Like, having the ability to have those kind of plays are just really overpowering. Coming in at number 8, and I really want to put it higher, is the Cosmo archetype. Cosmos, they have just so much going for them, and it's their first set. So that's the only reason I'm keeping it so low is, they only have 5 cards of real support, or I think it's 5. But being psychics isn't always the best, but it does have a lot of support already kind of there. And I think it'll really shape up as it comes along, and it seems like Konami really cares about creating this archetype. Star Wars, Wizards of Oz. It definitely deserves to be up there for the August format, and I think it'll start to be very relevant at locals, considering Farm Girl. Today's the sneak peek. Farm Girl is $55. So that's pretty crazy to me. Number 7, and definitely deserves a place on this list, Infernoids. If you watched my live streams, you might have seen me play a few matches with a Cursed Bamboo Soul thing when they weren't that good. They just picked up their fusion. Like, they have a lot going for them. They're going to be really broken, and they already are. You already see them in top level of the competition. Like, you already seeing them make it relevant round 8, round 9, just barely fizzling out. And with the ability to hurt Necros, their tribute effect, their ability to get off field, their ability to negate, their ability to destroy, their ability to basically handle everything in the format. Their only weakness is that they special summon, and emptiness is at 1 and Jin is gone. So we're going to see a huge increase in play, I believe, in Infernoids, and they're already there. They're already in the format. Number 7, I believe, would be Teller Knights. Teller Knights are definitely behind. Well, I wanted to put them ahead of Shadows, but Shadows will be picking up Norden within the format, but I believe Shadows are more versatile than Teller Knights. Teller Knights, you're pretty much going down one path, trying to Travere loop. So when you know where someone is going, you know how to stop it if you're good. So you know what to do, what to side, how to play against it, and you still have to dedicate space for Tellers, I believe. Like, you can't just, make it for the top few matchups, because each tournament you probably are going to play 1 or 2 Tellers, and a Teller like Peter Chang topped most of the events. He's one player, but it's still to the credit, Tellers keep topping. So it's a good deck. Altair Deneb's never bad, Vega, Altair, Deneb, Travere. It's always going to be powerful in the game to be able to wipe a field like that and send it back. But by the same credit, I believe that there's so many ways to counter it, because you're depending on summons, and you're depending on getting to Travere, and depending on Travere's effect to go off. Next is Shadows. So I've had a lot of talk about Shadows lately, and Mistake, again, this is the deck that abuses Mistake the best, which shuts down almost every deck in the format. And really, things like Beast, Hedgehog, Falco, being able to just have all these options, Construct, it's really one of the best decks. And it's the most versatile and it takes the most skill. It's hard to use. It's hard to always call the right decision. Like, do I Beast first or Hedgehog first when they're both going off in the same chain off of Construct and Squamata? Well, when you go ahead and you Beast first, you're drawing to see what you draw and then search based off of it. But you could also draw what you were going to search originally, so it can be bad and you can draw into 2 Shadow monsters. But if you search first then draw, there's one less monster in your deck, so in the pure state of the game, you're, thinning the deck in order for your draw. But I do like the concept of drawing to see what you should search. So it's really up to preference, but it's not random. There's definitely a lot of skill decisions you make, a lot of choices in the extra deck, and the extra deck has such tight space. So there's always that. Next we get to Cliffords at number 3. And Clifford is really that deck. That Towers Turbo is the thing now, and you see in this Towers Turbo, Trapless Cliffords to maybe 3 traps. Wavering Eyes came out to support them. They've already been topping. They've made their presence known before Wavering Eyes, and Wavering Eyes only gives them a boost, even though you could tech it against them in certain decks. Wavering Eyes is just really powerful. No matter how many counters to Cliffords exist, they're just so powerful that, if you don't draw them, they win. They're just so overbearing, and the only deck that really deals with a turn 1 tower seems to be mostly Necros and Tellers. Like, Burning Abyss really struggles with towers. There's not much they can do. So, we get to number 3, and I know a lot of you will be happy and a lot of you will be upset that this gets the number 3 spot for me, ahead of Clifford. But Ritual Beast is the deck if you know what you're doing. Ritual Beast is just, it goes. Like, it top 4 nationals. It top 8 at the 150th. It got in there past what a lot of other decks could have done. And it's going to continue. Like, the Disruption is really good against Tellers. The Disruption's really good against Infernoids. It's good against Clifford. It's good against Necros. You can make combos for game through Valk. Like, there's so much you can do, and there's so much negation that you can do. There's so many options in the deck, and there's so many ways you can go about what you're going to do that it's very hard to disrupt. And since you can chain defusing, you can never really get a good Veiler off except at the very beginning of what they're doing. So you basically have to draw a Veiler opening hand or get a field wipe and have Veiler, and in order for that to be relevant. Max C does hurt them a lot, but at the same time, they can shut down whenever they want and be content with just grabbing, 1 or 2 traps and it being worth it. So I would really like to see more people practicing with this deck, and it's really good. Number 2 spot is Necros. Necros basically has been on a roll, but it got hit really hard by the ban list. Sure, it goes to 1. Jhin gets banned. Lavalval Chain gets banned. Lavalval Chain was actually the biggest hit, in my opinion, not being able to stack anything and draw with Valk, more so than the sending Jhin part. But you lost a lot of power with Lavalval Chain, and there's ways to recycle, sure, but again, Mistake hurts that. The certain things in the meta hurts with your shirt going to 1. So what you really want to focus on in the deck now is, like, Decisive Armor is going to be bigger now. You have, like, in the Konami format, of course, this is all Konami format. You have Trishula still, and you're able to still try to make those plays, but people have learned so hard how to play around Trishula and not make that happen to themselves. Like, your main focus is keeping yourself out of a Trishula state, which is what hurts playing against Necros so much, because you have to consider hand management and that sort of stuff. And then they have, Valkyrus being able to block attacks, Unicorn being able to negate anything on the field, like Bryonic bouncing against Burning Abyss. But without the Jhin lock, they definitely fall to the number 2 spot. I would have put them at the number 1, but now that spot goes to Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss took the top 2 spots at Nationals. It had nothing hit on the ban list. They're not really countered by any of the new decks, and they're just the most solid deck with the best resource game in the game. Every single card does something to help resource, or every play that you should be making should help resource and recycle your deck and be able to go back further in the deck. So you just have this deck that is able to do so many things, but they all go towards one goal of swarming the field and killing your opponent. And even if that fails, you will get to recycle your resources, and that's the main thing this deck is able to do. So, that's my top 10 list. I heavily disagreed with some others that came up out there. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think Yang Zing's deserved a spot over Chicken Game or Cosmos or Heroes, because certainly nothing else should be off of this list, especially Infernoids. And thank you for watching.